obviously not everybody's Jamie. And one of the things about having a guy like Jamie, it streamlines the process so well because Jamie does a job of 3 people. At least there should be 3 people doing what he does. There should be one person that's Googling, one person that's switching the cameras, another person that's monitoring the sound levels and overseeing everything and making sure the lighting is good and everything's going smooth. You'd have multiple people doing what he does.
So you mentioned 25 years ago you got a great financial advisor. How did you guys meet to get this whole setup?
I just met Jamie at a comedy club. Yeah, Jamie came to a show at the Ice House and we were just talking, just hanging out. He told me he's a professional audio engineer.
Oh.
And he was saying, we have problems with our sound. And I said, what would you do to fix it? He goes, I could take a look at it. And, that was kind of the extent of the conversation, right? Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. And then Jamie said he took a one-way ticket from Ohio to come to L.A. because this is what he wants to do. And I was like, really? But it was like, it seemed to me, and I... for whatever reason, I tend to follow instincts. Even if people say, don't do that. What do you do? I'm like, I don't know. This seemed like the thing to do. And like with him, I was like, I think I'm going to hire that dude. And then right away, guy I didn't even know. I didn't know shit about him. He could have been a fucking serial killer. He could have been a fucking con artist. I mean, did we do a background check on you?
You'd have to tell me that. There was talks of it, but I don't know.
I think we probably did to make sure you're not a criminal.
I did sign something.
Yeah. But then right away, I was like, yep, I was right. He's the man.
What episode did you come in on?
Jamie's been here for 9 years.
Yeah, no, 11.
11 years.
Yeah.
But like there was some episode number where prior to that,
I don't remember.
The audio was shitty and everything.
Came in around 300.
Okay.
290, 300 was.
Yeah. But again, not everybody's Jamie.
Yeah.
But Jamie and I are like kind of telepathic in this weird way. They're like, I'll be talking about something and Jamie will already have it pulled up. Like I'll start the conversation. Did you see this new jet? And then all of a sudden, Jamie's got the video, and you'll see guests go, how the fuck how'd you do that? Did you guys plan this? I'm like, he's the man. Yeah. He's like, we have like the best working relationship in that regard. And, like I have other friends that run podcasts and they're always complaining. They're like, the producer chimes in too much and interrupts sentences. They get things wrong. They fuck this up. They do that wrong. They don't show up on time. They're late with their video editing or whatever the fuck it is. There's always something.
Yeah.
And Jamie and I just have it dialed in. But again, it's a skeleton crew. We have one guy who's a video editor. We have one guy who's a booking agent.
So it's like, because everyone would be wondering who has a podcast, like how do you find a Jamie or something that is like high level positions? Even for like companies you have, I've always wondered, how'd you find the people to run those so you can actually do what you do best?
Yeah. Well, with the comedy club's a good example. With the comedy club, when I started that and I came out here to Austin, it was like the universe had opened it was like, when you're driving, sometimes you hit every green light.
Yeah.
It's like it's red.
It feels like it's meant to be.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's how the comedy club was. It's like I realized that I had always had this idea that I wanted to eventually get out of LA. And as my youngest daughter started getting older, I was like, I do not want them growing up in this fucked up, materialistic, fame-driven, bizarro world of LA. Because it's not conducive to becoming a healthy human being and developing discipline and being present and just having like a well-adjusted, well-balanced adult human being. I'm like, this is a fucking mess over here. Like I see these people that are adults that are raising their kids. These are grown-up babies raising babies. I'm like, this is fucking madness. I got to get out of here. And so when the pandemic hit and then the riots were hitting and then there was fucking zero police presence and there were keeping all these businesses locked down and all these restaurants, these guys I knew that run restaurants, they were all going under. The Comedy Store was fucked. They weren't letting them host any shows. There was no stand-up to be done. And we came out here in May of 2020, and initially I was thinking maybe we'll get a vacation house and we can visit here and go. And then my kids wanted to live here like right away because When we were in LA, everybody had a mask on and you couldn't go to a restaurant. We came out here, we're eating at a restaurant in May of 2020. And I remember my kids were like, I can't believe we can sit down in a restaurant. We don't have to wear masks. Like they checked your forehead when you get in there, the temperature. It was all nonsense. Like, what's your temperature? Make sure you're not. And then you sit down and you eat, and everybody was fine. And then a few weeks later, they just let loose everything. They're like, no restrictions. Go back to life. And Gavin Newsom's like, everyone's going to die. What are you doing? And they kept everything locked down forever, kept kids out of school forever. So we came out here. And when we came out here, we started doing stand-up. So I started doing stand-up with Dave Chappelle at Stubbs, which is an outdoor venue. We did it very responsibly. We tested the entire audience. The audience had to get there an hour before the show. Everybody got tested. We really only wound up filtering a small handful of people out that tested positive for COVID over the course of like however many shows we did there. And then we started doing shows indoors. And when we started doing shows indoors, that's when I was realizing we really need a comedy club, like a real comedy club here. Because comics from LA started moving to Austin before I even had a club because they realized that I was doing shows here. And that we could all do shows together. So I'd be like, come down, do a couple shows. So I'd fly them in. They do the podcast. They do a few shows at the club, and they go, this is fucking amazing. It's like we're doing comedy again. And then they started moving here. And then the Comedy Store was shut down. So because the Comedy Store was shut down, all of the best employees were unemployed. So I contacted the talent manager. I contacted the manager. I contacted the bar manager. I contacted all these people. And I said, hey, I'm going to open up a comedy club, but I want to hire you now. And so I'm going to pay you. You'll fly to Austin. I'll give you money to relocate, and then you'll get free money for like a year and a half. You'll get paid a full salary. You'll insurance, everything. Just come here, and we're going to build this club together. And so everything aligned perfectly so that when the club was open, we were dialed in. The people had already lived here. We had, like, Carrie, our bar manager, is amazing. And she literally recruited the best waitresses and bartenders, brought everybody in. We got up and running, and we were smooth within a week. So it was like
finding her, though. Is that you or
me? I knew her.
Okay.
She was a good friend.
Gotcha.
She was my friend at the Comedy Store for years. Like we'd always hang out together and have drinks after club. She was just cool as shit, and she was really disciplined. And she was really good at keeping creeps out of the comics bar and making sure that everybody wasn't being infringed on. Because there's a comics bar at the Comedy Store, and it's literally Mitzi's bar. She has a bar from her home that is in the Comedy Store comedians bar. And that was our place. We'd go in between shows and after shows, and we would all hang out there, and it was just fun. It was just